have so many vivid memories of Mike. I mean, I would say, when you think about Netscape, by far the two key people were Mark and Mike. And I think Mike never got ever that level of credit. Like when people say, like, who built Netscape, only the people who were there know it was Mike Homer. But in some ways, like, he was the most important guy there. And Mark would say that, like, he was the most important guy there because it was his energy that made us different than, so there were, I think, 37 browser competitors when we started, and all of them got obliterated, like basically destroyed by the combination of us and Microsoft. And the reason that we were the one was so much Mike. And he would literally, like, every day at 2 o'clock in the morning, he would wake up and just come up with like 400 ideas. And then the next day he would like bring them to work and he would try and implement most of them. And that was kind of the thing that kept us running. And every kind of, like, the number of creative ideas he came up with was just absolutely insane. And then his willingness, like, he was the guy who was the warrior. So when we, like, competing with Microsoft was absolutely brutal because we were the darling of the world. We brought the internet to the world. And then Microsoft, who was at the height of their power, like, and people don't realize what that means anymore, but like, it was incredibly scary. That a monopoly on the operating system. So you could imagine if there was only iOS and Apple turned on you as an application provider, like, that's a very difficult position to be in. And like, how do you possibly withstand that? And a lot of the people, a lot of the executives in the company, a lot of the engineers, like, literally, I mean, or not literally, but metaphorically, hid under their desk. They didn't want anything. They didn't want to talk to the press. They didn't want any part of it. And Mike would be on the phone with, I remember him with 2 phones in his hand, talking to the Wall Street Journal on one line and the New York Times on the other line. And he was just going, Microsoft, yeah, they've got, they tell you they like HTML, but they say, yeah, use HTML, but we also have BBML. And he would go through and just destroy their whole argument. He was my hero, as like, wow, that guy has so much courage and so much creativity, and what a just like awesome, like incredible genius and force of nature he was at the same time. I've never met anybody quite like Mike since then. Ever. Ever, never, ever. Well, I think that, to me, Mike was the guy who, like, the key to Silicon Valley is anything is possible, right? Like, you have to believe that anything is possible to even attempt a lot of these things. And now, we've gotten to the era of the smartphone and, the internet is pervasive and so forth. And so people kind of, like, that mindset is much broader based now. But back in those days, like, very few people, like, felt like they had what it took to go, like, take on a monster company like IBM or Microsoft. It was just, like, much different then, and like, it all started kind of like with a belief. So the way I look at Mike and his impact is he's kind of like the guy who broke the 4-minute mile. And there's years, I forgot how many years it was where they were timing miles and nobody ever broke the 4-minute mile. As soon as Roger Bannister did it, like, everyone did it, because, like, he got through the mental barrier. That was Mike. Like, he kind of, to me at least, he took everybody he touched through that psychological barrier of, like, could you actually compete? Could you actually do something that sounded ridiculous and that all of your friends and family would go, like, what the hell are you doing? But yeah, he was amazing, an amazing person.